Just give us the picture. I mean, losing fingers sounds pretty bad. Just tell us how violent those protests got.
Well, hello, Belle. Indeed, the protests again, the 13th consecutive weekend of protests, got violent again. According to the police, about 51,000 people took to the streets, 4,000 of them in Paris, and that's where most of the confrontations with the riot police took place, when a number of protesters tried to storm the assembly, the House of Parliament in the heart of Paris. At that moment, the riot police fired tear gas grenades, and one of them exploded apparently in the hands of one of the protesters, who lost his 4 fingers. This was all being shown live on broadcast on television, so it was there were pretty gruesome images, and it puts again pressure on the French police forces for the use of very dangerous, well, non-lethal weapons, as they call. The debate is going on since the protest started. Many people got injured by the police, and nevertheless this grenade is the only one being used, or the Paris police force is the only one in Europe using these very dangerous grenades. So I think in a couple of days there will be a new debate. A group of lawyers already asked the government to stop using these grenades. So this is the what happened this weekend. But there were well, considerably less people on the streets over the last weekend, less yellow vests than the weekend before.
Where do you see this going next, Stéphane?
Well, of course, Emmanuel Macron will continue his grand national debate, one of the answers he gave to the yellow vests. But at the same time, the government has not a lot of leeway. The unemployment is still very high. It's not really going down. It's about 9%, and whereas in all the other European countries, with the exception of Italy, the unemployment is already going down for many years. Public debt is on the rise. The budget deficit is again on the rise. So the French government is in a particularly difficult position. Bruno Le Maire, the Ministry of Economy, spoke to us, to Euronews this weekend. Let's have a listen to what he had to say.
I strongly believe that with Emmanuel Macron we will be able to overcome the current difficulties with the so-called Gilets jaunes. But I also think that we have to take into account what happened and to really understand what is going on, not only in France, but in many European countries. You have a large part of the French population, and it is the same in many European countries, which feel left out, left behind. And we have to take into account that part of the population to give very concrete answers to their requirements.
So this was the French economy minister, of course, hinting already at the European Parliament elections in May. The government knows that the campaign has already started, and Emmanuel Macron's party, La République En Marche, is not in a very good position, at least if we have to believe the polls. So the government is already starting the campaign for the upcoming European elections, but it will be a very difficult campaign.